Hey everybody, Rob here with Empire Clan again, doing a video about those lovely common minions, the ones that everybody's kind of reluctant to use in some cases, who don't understand their benefit as you progress in this in the tiers of getting stronger as a player. And I'm going to kind of run down the commons. I'm going to do one video for each category, so don't worry, I'm going to get to your rares and to your legendaries. We'll get to those eventually, but I wanted to kind of cover the commons first to kind of talk about them, because I think a majority of them are underutilized. I think there's a handful that you could potentially utilize in your deck to make you a better combatant against some opponents. And when I talk about the mythicals, I'm going to be able to talk about that new mythical that just came out. I'm not going to disclose its name yet, because I mean, if you're not playing the game, you got to play it to understand. But you'll see it when I cover it too, because I've been utilizing it in my deck as of late, and I have to say that thing is a little bit OP at the moment. I think Nordis needs to kind of figure out a better structure for that card, because he's a little bit overpowered. I have to say that myself. So without any further ado, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at the minion collection for commons. And I'm just going to go down from the beginning to the end here, and we're going to talk about these guys. So the first off is the Swordsman. Swordsman is pretty much a pawn. They put on the field, he's pretty fast, he takes ground, he takes hits, he's a disposable card, he can do a little bit of damage, his attack isn't that great, and as you can see, mine's only a level 8 because I don't utilize this card at all. I utilize them a little bit during the ascensions, when his ascension gives you the ability of utilizing getting 2 of them in quick succession. But he, for the most part, is a very disposable card. His speed is one of the best perks of the card, and he can take a shot. So like if you're trying to deflect maybe a Silver Ranger or somebody who's trying to kill a minion, you don't want to die, you put him in front of it and he'll take the hit, and then your other minion can get in range and do what it needs to do. But definitely for the beginner player, he's a card you're going to have to utilize, because it's really, you don't have a lot of library at the beginning, so this is what you get to utilize. Next off would be the Water Elemental. I kind of like this card. I like its animation, I like how it works. You place it, it passes through your friendly minions and pushes back. Can't really talk about feet, I guess steps. It pushes the opponent's minions back about 4 or 5 steps, and then starts to attack. And during that animation, it's invincible. You can't hurt it until it starts to attack. Its attack is very low. Its health is extremely high for the type of card she is. So she's somewhat of a little bit of a tank. Her speed is very slow, so she's not one you can utilize to take ground. She's good for maybe the campaigns, if you're trying to push back things, or if you're trying to gain ground when the minions from the opponent are kind of attacking your portal and you want to put something behind her to attack those minions. She's potentially an option for that. But other than that, I don't really utilize her. I do like the ascension that she has when she passes through her friendly minions. She heals them. I thought that was kind of slick how they added that animation to that, but at the end of the day, I don't see her as a highly utilized card. Then you have, starting to get to the beefy boys here, is the Elite Warriors. So like the Swordsman, they're just the stronger cousins. These guys got a hell of a lot more health, got a lot more attack power. They're fast too, they're 8. They still do only melee damage, and when you place them down, you get 3 in each. You get 1 in each lane. Now the Ascension gives you an extra one, so wherever you place the card, and when I say place, what I'm talking about is that wherever your finger drops them at, that spot where your finger was on your screen is where they're going to place the extra addition that you get from the Ascensions. So you'll get an extra one, and these guys can be problematic in the later games, because they take a lot of hits. As you can see, mine's a level 11, so I utilize them. And if the person's doing a spammy style deck with these guys and the archers, they could be a headache, especially if you're using Reese Power. So keep an eye on these ones, and they're one I like to use on occasion as well. Talking about spam, let's go to Undead Army. These guys are a problem for a lot of people. You put them down, they put 5 skeletons in each lane. These guys don't take a lot of damage, so their health is very low, and they're susceptible to multiple group attack hits, like say for instance Amazon or Revenant or Alchemist, so they'll die relatively easy in that front. But their issue is numbers. The numbers kind of start overwhelming because they hit in every single lane. They are a high cost card, they're 9. The ascension that you get with it actually reduces that cost by 1, so it's not really a great ascension. But you know, for the numbers that you get, they're a little bit of a problem. And again, their speed is okay, pretty middle of the pack for speed, but their numbers are what's the problem with them. So that's a spammy style card. and their little nephew is the Undead Horde. Similar to them, you put them down, you get 5 in that one lane. The ascension gives you 2 extra ones, so if they're on ascension block, you'll be able to get 2 more. And again, these type of cards are typically utilized as either a tank to fight, like say for instance Abomination or a Bloodstalker or a Soul Leech that's in front that's already buffed up, but they're also designed to feed the Soul Leech and the Bloodstalker. So you put these cards down when you want to draw the energy from the Bloodstalker, or if you want them to be killed easily so that the Soul Leech can get strength. Other than that, though, they're not really great when it comes down to strategy of the fight. Again, it's a numbers thing here. You put them down, especially with Ascension, you get more to attack. Next up would be the Archers. So they spawn 3 Archers in a lane that you drop them. With the Ascension, I believe you get an extra Archer. Their range is kind of crappy. They're not. It's probably, I think, one of the lower of the shooters as regards to range. Their speed's kind of slow, a little bit into the middle, but relatively slow comparable to others. Their damage is not that great, and their health is not that great. For a newer player that's got limited availability of cards that can play, these are not a bad option. I utilized them because I like to utilize range when I first started, so I took advantage of their ability. Then you have Fire Imp. From a common card perspective, this is probably a must-have nowadays because of the spam decks that are floating around all over the place. When you put him down, he does a fire shot, pretty much a bullet that goes across the lane, kills anything that's a lower tiered card. So you got Rolling Rocks, you got Skeletons. Depending on his level, he'll also take out Archers or whatnot. So he's a good card to utilize to control a lane that's getting overwhelmed with spam. His Ascension gives him double that attack. So when you look at the burning damage, they're talking about the shot that he does. So it takes that 424 and makes it 848. So that's pretty strong. That'll start taking care of stronger cards like Swordsman or Elite Warriors and such like that. So you'll start being able to do some additional damage. And if you double stack your deck with this guy, you can actually throw them in back-to-back sessions and might be able to kill kill a minion or so that are up the middle tier. I like this card. I think it's a good one to use. He's not very fast. His health is pretty medium range. His attack is pretty low, comparable to his brother, the Ice Imp, but we'll get to him in a minute. Okay, so where are we at here? We're looking at the Undead Raid. Just like the Undead Army, this is a group set. They throw down 15 skeletons. The difference is that when you lay it down, it's very sporadic. They spread across the field, so you might have like 7 in one lane and 2 in another lane, so on and so forth. However, the Ascension pushes them even further up the field. So the original diagram of this thing is, oh, we're going to go up to only half the field. Then you use the Ascension, and then it says, okay, we're going to put these right up on the portal. So in some cases, you can have these guys right up on the portal of your enemy attacking immediately. So that's the perk with them. This type of card is really utilized to overwhelm your opponent, spreading the frustration. Another category of feeding your Bloodstalker, feeding your Soul Leech. Really, that's the most of it. It's just so much overwhelming across the field. It really makes the opponent have to really be precise in their strategy. Then you have Ravenous Scourge. These little buggers will be a pain in your ass if you do not take care of them early. I'm warning you now. As you put these guys down, they multiply. So every 4 seconds, this guy's gonna split. So you get 1, then it comes into 2, and then 2 becomes 4, and it gets up to a point to where it'll get up to 8, and their damage is multiplied based on that damage up there. So that 283 is per scourge that's on the field. So do the math. 8 times 283. That's not fun. They're not fast. They don't do group attack. They're not ranged at all. So the benefit you have there is to attack them with things like the Alchemist, the Revenant, or anything else that can kill groups. When you got more than 2 or 3, if you got 3 or 2 or 4 on there, you should be able to kill them with maybe a Blade Dancer or a bunch of Archers. But when they start getting to that multiple numbers, it's going to become problematic, guys. So you want to make sure you take them out quick, especially if they're combined with like a Valen Shield. That's when it becomes really a pain. One of the benefits, though, I'll give you a tidbit here. Utilize them during your Spider event. If you equip equipment that actually has like a shield generation capability. Each time one of these little buggers spawns, depending on the percentage of your shield possibility, each one will get a shield. So you might get one that gets a shield, and the next one might not, and then the next one might get a shield, and the next one might not. So every spawn that it does actually counts as a new card on the field, which then gives your percentage of possibility of getting a shield multiplied on these guys. So that's a perk with them. So that's just a little bit of a tidbit for the raids. Next one is Frost Imp. Out of all the commons, probably my favorite card to utilize. I typically use him in every season because I just like to freeze. I like to stop my opponent in his tracks so I can kind of recalibrate and think about what my next strategy is going to be. It also makes them panic because then I got to think about what they're going to do. Are they going to counter me, or are they going to go in a different lane, so on and so forth. His ascension is even great because when they're ascended, it makes his freeze last 3 seconds longer. That's an eternity. So do the math. I mean, 5 seconds plus 3 seconds gives you 8 seconds. So 8 seconds is an eternity in this game. So if you can freeze lane for 8 seconds, that's awesome. His attack is even strong. So I like the fact that he can be put in front of, like, say, a Silver Ranger, freeze a Silver Ranger, and attack it enough to kill it. I've even killed Hell Fiends with him. I mean, he is a strong card, and he's tanky because he's got 1,400 hit points. I mean, look at his brother. His brother's got not even 1,000. So he's stronger than his brother in attack. He's stronger than his brother in health. He's just as fast as him, and he freezes the group. To me, he's pretty much a perfect common card. And I forgot to mention with the Scourge, Ascended, they already start with 2. So when you do the Ascension for the Scourge, when you put them down, they automatically has 2. So it starts off already problematic. So again, problematic card. But yeah, I like the Frost Imp. Frost Imp is, in my opinion, one of the best common cards that are available right now. Blade Dancer, a lot of people like Blade Dancer. I like Blade Dancer. I used to use her a lot. She got nerfed a couple times. She used to be faster, and look at her speed right now. She's still 8, but she got nerfed in speed. She attacks 2 times per swing. Her Ascension gives her an additional attack, so she'll attack 3 times per swing. She's melee, and her health is pretty decent. I mean, right now mine's a level 11. It's got 1,300 hit points. That's pretty aggressive for a fast common card. Her attack is low, but again, you're multiplying that times 2. So she's still a decent card to counter things like Rolling Rock, Skeletons, so on and so forth. If you can combine her with the freeze from the Frost Imp against, like, say, for instance, a Hell Fiend or another medium aggressive card, she could technically kill it. If you combine her with Noella's freeze, she'll definitely kill it. So she is not a bad card. I would say she's a pretty good common card, so I would definitely have her in her deck if you can get her. And then there's the Shield Bearer. What can I say about this guy? He just gets a bad rap, but he also is not very beneficial in any deck I can think of unless you're a newer player. He is a fantastic tank. So he walks with that big ass shield of his and is taking all the hits that he possibly can. And in the younger player category, he's great because you're not dealing with a lot of players that have group attacks or cut through attacks, meaning like the you're talking about like the Amazon that can shoot through the minion. However, he does not do a lot of damage. It's decent at my level 7, but you know, it's not as much as I think it could be. And his ascension is only that he costs half of what he costs, so they make him down cost of 2. That's a bullshit ascension for him. Why don't you make him like maybe do double damage? Maybe make him attack more, you know, and I think that would make him more utilized. Why don't you make him do maybe a reflection? Like the reflector, you know, make him kind of a big bulky reflector, something of that nature. Don't just make him cost less, because that's not going to encourage anybody to want to utilize them more. I've seen a handful of people try it when the Ascension came out, but they only did it because they were experimenting. They weren't doing it because they thought it was a great idea. It's just to me, he's a forgotten card, unfortunately. But for newer players, I utilized him heavily as a buffer for my range troops. So if I was using archers or silver rangers or whatnot, I definitely had him in my deck, because I thought he was a good enough tank. Another ascension might be great for him is if they make him push like the Colossus. I'm trying to think outside the box here and think of some other ideas besides make him cost less. I don't think it's a good ascension. It doesn't do him any justice. I don't think it helps him. So next would be the elite archers. I like them. I use them in my later decks as spam starts getting more aggressive, because I like to have the range capability against those skeleton guys. When you ascend them, you get an extra set of archers in the lane that you place them. So you'll get 4 in one lane, 2 in 2. I think that's pretty awesome, and their attack is okay for comparable to the other ones. Their range is still kind of poopy. Their health is not that great, and they're not that fast. But from a spam perspective, they're a pretty decent card. Combine them with their friends over here, the Elite Warriors, they're problematic. Trust me. And then, last but not least, it's Rolling Rocks. These guys. Well, what can I say about them? They're the cheapest card in the deck. They're the fastest cards, minions in the deck. They do melee. Their health is poop. Their attack is okay. So you're talking 214 attack per Rolling Rock on the field. When they're ascended, you get an extra Rolling Rock. So you get that luxury of having 4. They're a good buffer deck card to use. Like if you're trying to gain field advantage, if you're trying to protect against like a Colossus or a Bloodstock or whatnot. They're also a good feed card to feed your Soul Leech and your Bloodstalker. And yeah, that's about as much as I can say about them. They're not a bad card. They're fast, they're furious, but they do die easy, so you have to expect that. And you know, for a newer player, they're definitely going to be in your repertoire. I would definitely have them in your deck to start out, so you can kind of take some field advantage quick. And it gives you good defense against certain cards, so you can prepare yourself with your stronger cards behind them. At the end of the day, though, they are a very expendable card, so they're a throwaway card. So again, talking about commons, guys, think about these as your pawns and your rooks and such. We'll get into the rares, which will kind of be more like your knights and such. But yeah, I mean, so out of all these guys, I would say the ones I would definitely say always consider to have in your deck would be the Fire Imp, definitely. The Frost Imp, definitely. Blade Dancer is a decent one to have. Skeletons if you're going with Bloodstalker or Soul Leech. And then if you're going with the spammy stuff, always have Elite Archers or the Elite Warriors. They are a problematic set, and they're designed that way on purpose. Everybody else here, too costly, would not do Undead Army. From a spam perspective, use them to cause problems because it spreads across the board. But if I had to choose from an ascension standpoint, if they had all 3 of these ascended, these guys, and these guys, I would choose the Elite Archers and the Elite Warriors over these guys because they die easily and they can be countered very easily. These guys are a pain in the ass. These guys have a pretty good distance enough to kind of give you some space. So, and both of them will feed your Bloodstalker and your Soul Leech if you're trying to work that strategy. But other than that, the Rolling Rocks, the Scourge and such, Scourge is good for the events when you're going against the Spider. The Rolling Rocks are good for flag, captured flag and such. Same thing with him. The Swordsman good against captured flag. And this Water Elemental is good when they have the Ascension for the heal, but again, I don't think it's enough to justify having it in your deck all the time. And I just wish they would do something better with the Shield Bearer. I really feel like he's neglected. I played him when I was younger in this game, and I just wish they would come up with a better Ascension for him than that. So, but other than that, guys, that's my overview of the commons. Hopefully it was informative and that you guys got some insight on it. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. And I'd love to hear your comments about the commons and which ones you utilize in your decks. Which ones do you think are the best commons out there that you utilize all the time? Which ones do you think are the shittiest ones out there? And what kind of ascensions would you like to see enhanced on some of these guys? Like, everybody that probably watches this video, if you're not new, you played this game long enough, you have an understanding of the type of ascensions that are out there right now. You've played them, and you've seen them. What do you think are just ridiculous ascensions for some of these cards that you think, you know what, they need to change that? Me personally, again, the Shield Bearer, I think they need to change him. I think that's not a good ascension for him. But what's your thoughts? What do you think needs a better ascension? Who do you think has the best ascension out of the commons? And then again, like I said, I'll do a video on the rares next. But that about wraps it up for this video, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave your comment. And like I always say, guys, stay safe, stay sharp. And until next time, talk to you guys soon.